Let's take a look at set and drift number 2 in your book. It says your position is latitude 41 degrees 15.9 north by 71 degrees 41.7 west, which I've already plotted. That happens to be the ending position of the previous problem. So it says you're on a course of 182 per standard magnetic compass at 6.2 knots. 1 hour later, your position is, and it gives us latitude and longitude, what is the set and the drift. So they want to know the direction and speed of the current. So the very first thing to do is plot the very first position, because you're going to be drawing a line from that position in the direction you're going true. So I always like to write some notes to myself when I do one of these problems. I like to write the word true. Remind myself to convert the compass course to true. Okay. I like to write dr, or distance, meaning how far will I travel in the given amount of time that I'm out there. And I like to write EP, ending position, because that's kind of the steps to solving the problem. So let's look at the problem here. Again, it says at 9:47 your position is, okay, and they gave me that position, so I plotted it on the chart. Okay, we've got to now draw a line from that point in the direction that we're going, but we always plot in true. So let's go ahead and figure out the course we're on. It says we're on a course of 182. Okay, so I'm going to use my T, V, M, D, let's find a pencil with some lead in it, C formula, and I'm going from compass to true, so I'm going to put an arrow going up to remind myself. Okay, and then I'm going to take that course that they gave me, and it's in compass, so I've got to put it down at the bottom. So again, I'm going from compass to true. So if I'm going from compass to true, what do I do with those errors? If I have a westerly error, I'm subtracting. If I have an easterly error, I'm adding. So let's find what's the deviation for 182. Well, we've got 180, which is 2 west, so we'll go ahead and use that. It's pretty close. So 2 degrees west, and what do I do if I have a westerly error? I'm going to subtract it. So it's going to give me a magnetic heading of 180. Okay, the variation on this chart, the difference between my true and my magnetic, is 15 degrees west. And if I have a westerly error, again, I'm going to subtract it. So 180 minus 15 should be 165. So now that I've got my true course of 165, I can go ahead and plot it on the chart. Okay, and while I'm at it, I can determine my dr. If I'm going 6.2 knots for 1 hour, how far am I going to travel? 6.2 miles. Okay, and my ending position is 41 degrees 09.2 north by 71 degrees 40.6 west. Okay, so I've got all that information. I can go ahead, I can come to my chart, and I'll put that up and out of the way for just a minute. I've got to find 165 and draw a line in that direction. So I'm going to find 165. Okay, on my compass rose, I'm always go from the hash mark. Okay, so here's my hash mark. 165 is about there. A bit hard to see sometimes. Okay, and I'm going to move just a little bit. So I can now draw a line, okay, in the direction of 165. So here's my starting point. I'm going to just draw a long line in the direction of 165. Okay, so now I've got this long line, and I have to mark my dr, my distance. How far would I travel given the amount of time that I was out there. So it said I was in the out there for 1 hour. So in 1 hour at 6.2 knots, I'm going to go 6.2 miles. So I open my dividers. Let me use this set of dividers. It's got a pair of points on it. I'm going to open them to 6.2. So there's 5. There's 6.1.2. Okay, so now I can go from my starting point. All right, I can measure 6.2 miles and make a mark, and that would be my DR. And I'll put a little half circle around it just to remind myself that that's my DR. So that's where I should theoretically be given the time that I'm out there. Now the last step, I need to plot my ending position. So it says I'm at 4109.2. Here's 41 degrees. Here's 10. So here's 09.2 and 7140.6. Well, this line here is 40.6 is 40. So 40.6 is a little beyond that line. So I'm going to be drawing a line somewhere around here. Okay. So I'll go ahead. I'll put that down on the chart. So let's take 4109.2. So I started on my parallel line, on my line of latitude. So 09, 091, 092. And I'm going to draw a line around here. I don't draw really big lines. I just estimate where the lines are going to be, and then I draw them. Okay, and then this next one I will get is 40.6. So I'm going to find 40.6, 7140.6 right there. So I'm just going to bring that down, and I'm going to mark it. So that is where I ended up. Okay, so I should be on my line right here at my DR, but in reality I ended up over here. So that tells me the current is setting me in that direction, sort of a west-southwest direction. Okay, it's pushing me in that direction off my intended course. So they want to know specifically what is the set and the drift. So set means the direction of the current. What's easy to determine the direction of the current, it's that way. But more specifically, I can put my parallel rules between the 2 points where I should be, my DR, and where I ended up, and just walk it up to the compass rose and read the direction in the direction that the current is setting me. So it's pushing me that way. I'm going to read this side of the compass. So I've got 230, looks like 233, 234. I'm going to write that down, 234. Okay, so that's the set. That's the first half of the answer. It says, what is the set and the drift? Well, drift is the speed of the current. So speed would be the distance between where I should be, where I ended up, divided by the time that I was out there. So here in this case, my distance is this number right here. So that is, well, I'm going to call it 1.1 divided by 1 is 1.1 knots. So my answer is 234 at 1.1 knots. So let's see if I've got something pretty close to that. Okay, 234 at 1.1 knots. This is question number 2. Okay, I've got 229 at 1.1 knots. Okay, it's off by 4 degrees, 5 degrees really. Okay, I could tell you it is the correct answer. Even though I was off by 5 degrees, I still managed to get the right answer.